In the description are my three films: The Trap, Case of Death, and The Man Who Died. If you enjoy them, pass them on to other people. Much appreciated.
All right, Pretty Woman. This is a weird one. This is a weird. I watched this film a few nights ago, and it's a weird one. It's a strange one for me to do because I thought about it, and like you can think about things, or I think about things to do with certain movies, and you can be influenced by what you heard before about it and stuff like that. So I was looking at this movie and I hadn't seen it in years and I watched the whole thing and yet again, like it was a movie I liked years back when I seen it. I went to see this film in the cinema in 1990. I kind of remember going to see it. I remember talking about it on the way back. We're in this transit van and there was a good few of us who went to the cinema to go and see it. I remember some of the people that I used to know back then in like 1915 or 14 or something. I remember some of the people were talking about they were taking the piss out of the film at times. Like, she wasn't that attractive. She was. I didn't find her that attractive. I don't know why they called her Pretty Woman, and we were all joking, saying like, yeah, that's why they called it Pretty Woman because she was a pretty woman. Do I think Julia Roberts is pretty? Yeah, she's attractive looking, I suppose. Back then, she was attractive looking, I suppose, and she wouldn't really be my type, to be honest. To be everyone has a type. But as I was thinking about doing this review, what did I think of this film? How did I view this film? What was my state when I was watching this film? Or what was I thinking when I was watching it? Or what did I see in the movie that was, the dark side of movies? And there is dark elements in this movie. It's not your typical rom-com movie, though. I didn't feel that when I was watching it. I mean, it is basically a Walt Disney movie, and they actually publicize it or talk about it in that way. It's, I want the fairy tale, she says at the end, So at the end of the movie, pretty much, she wants more and more. She gets very little at the start. She gets £100, $100 for an hour. She goes into the hotel and then he says, how much for the whole night? And she says, 300. Done. And then he wants to pay her, to keep her for the week, which is not a bad idea. Renting someone for a week is not a bad idea. But £3,000 was a bit much for it, though. But this guy is like a billionaire, so it didn't really matter to him. She's a prostitute. She went to Los Angeles. She came from some small southern state or something like that, some poor kind of like, and even that's a stupid thing to say. Being poor is not a bad thing, dude. Coming from a small area is not a bad thing. These cities, Los Angeles and Tokyo and like anywhere you go around, like these cities are horrible, man. Like why the fuck would you want to go into them anyway? They're horrible. Mostly the people are horrible. They're there. They have this, kind of like a rat race mentality of just like how much can I get? How much can I get noticed? So I don't really agree with that at all. Why are you going to come to Los Angeles to be somebody? What you mean to get more stuff or to get ego validation or whatever? I mean, young people seem to want to do that. In the movie, she is a prostitute, right? She's a prostitute, Richard Gere, and her are very well suited in the movie. They cast very well, the two of them. It's an enjoyable movie. I watched it kind of with a mindset of like, oh, I'm gonna look for the negativities in this movie, and there is some of them in there. Of course, there is some of them in there. It's spun around this time. Not like Four Weddings and a Funeral or the Notting Hill film where she's rich and Hugh Grant is poor. So it's more realistic that she's poor and he's rich and she would be attracted to him because of it. At least they got that kind of right because women are attracted to money and power. So, and that's it has a natural tint on it as well because they want someone who is able to, take care of the offspring and take care of them and all that kind of stuff. So, like, it has reality baked into it to a certain point, right? So, and as the film goes on, it's a romantic love story, and it's a film that kind of found I enjoyed watching it, man. And I don't think it is a film that is as bad as some of the ones that are to do with putting men down and putting women up on pedestals and stuff like that. It was kind of romantic. The acting was very good in it. There's some cheesy parts in it. I liked some of the stuff in the hotel when she came into the hotel and he had to put the jacket on her and she didn't button it up, of course. So what was the point in even putting the fucking thing on? Everyone could see she was a prostitute. The bellboy was very good. He had this goofy kind of face, and he didn't say too much, but his expressions are very good. Little characters like that helped the movie along. Jason Alexander is in the movie. He was in Seinfeld, and you know, he's all right in it. He plays probably himself in the movie. If you get my drift. So he's like a lawyer, killer kind of type. And they do business. Him and Richard Gere's character, they basically take companies, they buy companies that are in peril, and then they buy them off them at a bargain rate, and then they sell them bits and pieces of the company away. And they're like shark people that go off and they hunt people that are in trouble. So that part of the movie was good. That he kind of softened up a tiny bit to do with saying that was meaningless in loads of ways. So I kind of like that as well. The tone of the movie was very good. I did like I did like some of the other characters in the movie. I think that Julia Roberts' friend in it, she was a bit over the top, you know, a bit over the top, a bit cheesy, a bit over the top at times. He wasn't in it that much. The standout for the movie was the manager of the hotel, the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, Hector Alonso. I think I'm pronouncing that right. He was great in it. There was something about him that was really cool in the movie. He was very how should I put it in words? It's kind of hard to put it into words. He was very kind of like soft spoken in some ways, and he kind of came across very hard to everyone in the film. But he was a good guy in the movie, and he had a good heart in the movie, and I kind of liked his character very much in the movie as well. And the music was very good. Like I said at the end, she wants a lot more. I want the fairy tale. I don't want just to be put up in a condo. I want more and more and more. And you can kind of understand what she was coming from in the movie as well. I didn't dislike this movie. I didn't really dislike it. I was trying to dislike it, and I was looking at it, and I was thinking, like, well, you got to watch. Sometimes you got to watch movies as just movies as well. You can't be taking everything literally, and they do put a lot of shit in movies, of course. Like I done that, The Notebook. That's a different level, different scale, But I have to say that I was when I was watching the movie Pretty Woman, I didn't dislike it. I kind of liked it, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was had a certain charm to it, and I think it worked very well, really, really well, and it was a good premise in it. And when I was watching it, just say for instance, I don't know how other guys watch this movie when you're older, but I could imagine myself when I was younger watching this film, and it's kind of like you're way more emotional when you're younger, and that's because you haven't been through heartbreak. You haven't been through your heart has not hardened the way it has right now, and so it's very different watching it when you're older, watching it, looking back at everything, and you're watching it, and you're watching it more in a realistic setting, and you're thinking kind of like like differently about it. You're emotionally processing it differently, and mentally too. As a movie, I thought it was good. I enjoyed the movie. I didn't think it was that negative really at all. There's some bullshit in it. Like I said, she's kind of like a prostitute, and she didn't want to be treated like a prostitute. Well, you are a prostitute. You're going to be treated how you are in a lot of ways in this world, right? I mean, and but she was a nice girl in the film, and people make mistakes in life. People make mistakes. It doesn't mean you should tar them completely with that through their whole life. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone, right? So, but did it leave the audience with a negative? Was it trying to program the audience? Pardon me. Yes and no. I think it was just a good little story, and I think it was executed very well. And and it's not going to happen in reality, of course. None of that's going to happen in reality. No prostitute's going to meet a multi-billionaire and they're going to fall in love. I doubt that very much. Very, very much doubt that. You know, so Richard Gere's character was a bit of an anomaly, and but as a movie, I thought it was worth watching, and I tried to dislike it, but I have to say, I have to, because someone asked me on the comments, they said, look, well, do Pretty Woman next, after The Notebook and do that. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll look at it. And I have to say that I didn't dislike the movie. I thought it was pretty good, and I found it kind of charming and well made, and I kind of enjoyed it.